Good morning. Today is Thursday the 3rd, and we're going to start with a daily reflection on the New Testament. Philip said unto him, Lord, shew us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus saith unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. John chapter 14, verses 8 through 9. Among the central truths of the gospel is the knowledge that our Heavenly Father is an exalted man with a body of flesh and bones, and that we are created in his image. A parallel, preeminent truth is that Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son in the flesh. He and the Father are separate personages, and yet they are one in purpose, glory, and attributes. After completing the infinite atoning sacrifice, Jesus received all power in heaven and in earth. He received the fullness of the glory of the Father. The Father and Son thus possess the same mind, the same wisdom, glory, power, and fullness. To obey the Son is to obey the Father. To honor the Son is to honor the Father. And in a very real sense, to see the Son is to see the Father. Okay. Today is Acts chapter 25. And it was difficult. The language that they use, the manner of speech, is so hard to wrap my brain around sometimes that I don't know what they are talking about. I got the gist of it, but the beginning verses were so convoluted to me that I almost had to reread the verses 2-3 times to be like, what are they saying? Let's see. But here's what happens in this chapter. Festus, who Felix handed Paul over to Festus. And Festus, wanting to be liked of the Jews, was willing to do whatever they wanted. And there was a plot by the high priest to say, send him to Jerusalem so we can kill him. We'll just kill him in Jerusalem and everything will be fine. So then Festus says to Paul, I don't know what you're doing here. You don't belong here in Caesarea. How about we go back down to Jerusalem and I'll judge you there? Very cunning, very sly. And Paul says, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat where I ought to be judged. To the Jews have I done no wrong, as thou very well knowest. And that's the verse I chose for my personal statement. It was really hard to find one. Really, really, really hard to find one. But what I wrote is, I must make myself worthy to stand before Christ's judgment seat where I ought to be judged. Paul knows what he's done or hasn't done. Paul knows the law. Paul knows the jurisdiction of where he belongs. He knows his actions, the law, and where he should be judged in proper authority. Have my actions made me, or are making me, worthy to stand before Christ's judgment seat? Or am I striving to be judged of man? That's what I chose for my personal statement. So he says he won't go to Jerusalem. And Festus is like, fine, then I'll send you to the king. And Agrippa comes, and Festus tells him the story of Paul. And Agrippa's like, yeah, bring him before me. I want to see him. I want to talk to him. And then there's something about writing a letter, which, for it seemeth to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not withal to signify the crimes laid against him. So they're trying to get actual proof, actual accusations against him. There's no proof, nothing. Yet they continue to hold him and send him to this higher person, then this higher. It's so convoluted. All right, let's go to our verse by verse. There's only 3 for today, which is perfectly fine because it's just somebody telling a story, basically. Anyways, here's what the verse by verse has to say. Jewish leaders apprise Festus of the case against Paul. Charges and complaints are raised, but with no accompanying evidence. With a potential change of venue to Jerusalem, Paul is obliged to appeal to Caesar, which is his right as a Roman citizen. He had more hope of justice from Nero than from the Sanhedrin. Herod Agrippa II, the last of the Herodian dynasty, was living in incest with his sister Bernice. Ugh. I didn't need to know that. Okay. Festus reviewed the case of Paul with Agrippa. Paul then had opportunity to bear testimony before yet another ruler and his courtiers. Okay, so I'm complaining that Paul's just being pushed up the ladder one by one. Nobody's willing to, they know they can't do anything about it, or they're not willing to do anything about it, and so he keeps getting pushed up the ladder. But he's being able to bear testimony before the captain of the guard, and then Felix, and then Festus, who probably falling on deaf ears, and then Agrippa. So, I mean, he's being able to preach and testify to a group of people he wouldn't be able to otherwise. So there's that. Obviously, I need to look on the brighter side instead of the injustice and how I would feel. All right, that's all for today. I will leave you with a prayer from a diary of prayer. It is the 3rd. Okay. This prayer is the preface to Geneva Bible. It's attributed to King Edward VI. Yes. O gracious God and most merciful Father, who hast vouchsafed us the rich and precious jewel of thy holy word, assist us with thy Spirit, that it may be written in our hearts to our everlasting comfort, to reform us, to renew us according to thine own image, to build us up and edify us into the perfect building of thy Christ, sanctifying and increasing in us all heavenly virtues. Grant this, O Heavenly Father, for the same Jesus Christ's sake. All right. That was Acts chapter 25, and tomorrow we do 26. Hopefully I can make more sense of what's going on and have more to say. Okay. I gotta go to work. Love you all. Have a great day. Stay safe. I'm gonna try not to fall asleep. Okay. Bye.